South Korea, that little Asian country with big ambitions that brings you BTS, Hyuna, Parasite, and huge technology companies like Samsung, also brings you a company by the name of SK Hynix. Hello and welcome to First Look. I'm Young John, and today I want to talk to you about a company that you've probably never heard of, but they're huge! Number 3 in semiconductor manufacturing worldwide. That's SK Hynix. They sell to conglomerates, huge companies like Dell, Apple, or IBM, those guys, okay? They make RAM, storage, stuff inside of computers and cell phones that you don't really see. But they sell a lot of them, and their reliability is tops. So we're gonna unbox this guy. This is the SK Hynix Gold S31 SSD. SATA 2.5 inches. The bottom and the top look pretty much the same. It says SK Hynix on it, like there and there. On the side is this, and on the other side, you get the serial number for the drive itself. The back of the box is very complex. It has a lot of tiny print that you can't see with your naked eye, but it does have a whole bunch of certification logos, a lot more than I can count on two hands. But the most important thing, I think, one of the most important anyway, is the 5-year limited warranty. I'm noticing that it's taped on the bottom to prevent tampering, so I'm going to take my trusty knife here to open this guy up, to reveal your drive and paperwork, which includes user instructions and terms and conditions. So that's what comes in the box, your drive and your paperwork. So I'm taking a peek at the instruction manual, and you have instructions in a zillion languages. The first one is Korean, okay? They're based in Korea, so I don't blame them. Here's the Korean language instruction set. You have English, you have German, French, Japanese, Chinese simplified, and a whole bunch of others on the back. It basically tells you how to install this inside your laptop or a computer with brackets that don't actually come with this box, so you're gonna need a couple of those. It has a little sticker that says, you agree with the warranty limitations as you open this sticker, which I'm fine with. Pull this out. This is a 2.5-inch drive SATA. It fits into most laptops, and the prices are still going down, which is great for us. Now, to give you an idea of size, I have this fake credit card here, and it's almost the size of a credit card. Very, very small, very portable. The cover is made of metal in the front, in the back, all around, and you see screw holes on the sides for mounting, on the bottom as well, there and there. And on the back, you will see the SATA III interface, which you just simply plug in to your laptop. Obviously, this drive is made for internal use, but you could also use it externally, provided you buy an enclosure. Don't cheap out on the enclosure. Make sure it says USB 3.1 Generation 2. It's capable of 10 gigabits per second, easily accommodating SATA III's 6 gigabits per second, which ensures you take full advantage that SATA III has to offer. If you get an enclosure with USB 3.1 Generation 1, the speed is only 5 gigabits per second. You are being cheated out of a whole gigabit per second. That's like 20% of the speed. I'm really excited to see how well this SSD drive works. So we're gonna install it inside my laptop over here and run a test. I'm removing a 2 terabyte Micron drive that I had installed here for the time being, and we'll stick this guy right in. We're in Windows 10. We're going to go into Disk Management and format the drive. Do all the defaults and initialize it. Now we have the unallocated drive. New simple volume. and we'll take the maximum amount of space and go next. Format with quick format, and yes. So now it's formatting into a useful drive. It has 931 gigabytes free. Let's rename this volume by going into properties and naming this, oh, I don't know, SK_1T for 1 terabyte. And we're going to run CrystalDiskMark 6.0. Run it 5 times, 1 gigabyte of data. Let's select the new SK Hynix drive and test all of these 4 tests. Here we go. SSDs have a TBW rating, which is more or less how many times you can read and write over this drive. The 1 terabyte that we have here has a 600 TBW, the 500 gigabyte has a 300 TW, and the 250 gigabyte version has a 200 TBW. So you can more or less write over this 1 terabyte drive about 600 times, which is an insane amount. So unless you're using this for a server that you constantly read and write, it's not much to worry about. Samsung 1 terabytes, the consumer versions of them have a TBW rating of 300. This one has 600. That's like double that. Test is finished. The fastest possible read speed is 556.2 megabytes per second, and the fastest possible write speed is 516.7 megabytes per second. When you're writing big files sequentially, this is the fastest speed that you can have. For video editors, photographers, and anyone who transfers large-sized files, these 2 numbers are the most important here. On the other hand, for smaller files, for 4K files, you have a read speed of 12.21 megabytes per second, and you have a write speed of 65.18 megabytes per second. This is more of the everyday usage, normal person who writes Word documents, Excel sheets, and that kind of thing. Let's compare this to a Micron 1100. We reviewed this SSD drive a while back. If we compare the relative read and write speed of the Micron versus the Hynix is much faster. 556.2 megabytes read versus 521. The write speed is also 516 versus 496. That's about 20 megabytes faster in writing speed than the Micron 2 terabyte. The flip side of that is that the smaller files seem to be much faster copying and reading on the Micron at 25.78 megabytes versus 12.21 read and 108 versus 65. Comparing these 2 charts suggests that transferring larger files is much quicker on the SK Hynix, whereas transferring smaller file sizes like Excel sheets and Word documents is faster using the Micron. Our next test is largely unscientific, so I'm going to transfer some very large files from the NVMe that I have inside the laptop to the new drive. Now these are large video files. They're about 2.5 gigabytes each. And we have 100 gigabytes that we're going to transfer over. We're going to see if anything happens to it over time, like slowing down. So here we go. I'm going to copy this into here and drop. Going to keep an eye on this number right over here. As you can see from this graph, it's fairly consistent between 350 and 400. I mean, it does go up and down a little bit here and there, but if I remember the Micron, it takes a nosedive after writing 32 gigabytes per second, but not this one. It goes consistently across the board, and that's really great. I'm really happy with that performance. The 1 terabyte drive costs about $120. The 500 gigabyte drive costs $70-ish. and the 250 costs about $50. Now, would I buy SK Hynix's SSD drive? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. And that's because SK Hynix manufactures their own 3D NAND chips. They manufacture their own controllers, and they put it together so you know that everything works as it should. It's not like most other companies where they buy memory chips from company X, they buy controller from company Y, and try to finagle to make things work out. These guys make everything in-house, so you know everything is working as it should, and it's worth it to pay a little bit more money to buy a reliable product from a company that sells to behemoths like IBM and Dell, rather than a no-name where you can save a couple of pennies. It isn't worth it. This, my friends, is, in my opinion, worth it. Thank you very much for joining us as we take a look at the SK Hynix Gold S31 SSD drive. If you want to check out current prices, we'll leave Amazon affiliate links down below in the notes. If you haven't done so yet, please take a moment to subscribe to the First Look YouTube channel, and we shall see you all again next time. Which easily handles the 6 gigabits per megabit. Did I say megabit? The 250 megabytes. It's gigabytes, man. Arr.